Hello, and welcome to Lecture 6 of the Forces Unit in Phys 1104. I'm sure you agree that we haven't talked nearly enough about friction, and so this whole video lecture is going to be all about friction. Much of the time, things are not sliding, but if you push hard enough on them, they start to slide, and that transition to sliding reveals some very important things about friction. So, suppose you start pushing on a filing cabinet, and the cabinet does not move. Since it's not moving, its acceleration is 0, and so we can conclude that the vector sum of forces is 0, and so the friction back must be the same size as the force that you are exerting on the filing cabinet. You can increase how hard you're pushing on the filing cabinet without it slipping. And so apparently the static friction increases along with the force that you exert. Now, at some point, there's some maximum amount that you can push. And if you exceed that, if you push just a tiny bit harder, the cabinet starts to move. But not only does it start to move, it accelerates, and usually not with a particularly small acceleration either. So note, the force you exerted hardly changed, and yet now the cabinet is accelerating at a significant rate. What do we conclude about this? We know that when the filing cabinet starts to slide, the static friction must be replaced with the kinetic friction. And so apparently the kinetic friction must be smaller than the static friction that it replaced. What I've just said is quite important. It's also very subtle, and often students don't understand it. So I want you to tell me back what I just told to you, to the extent we can do that in a video lecture where neither one of us is face to face with the other. So, the cabinet isn't moving even though you're pushing on it. You increase how hard you're pushing, but only by a tiny amount. And the cabinet not only starts to slide, it starts to accelerate at a significant rate. So the sum of forces must have been 0 before, and now it's got a significant size to the right, even though you only increased the force of your push by a tiny amount. Why? What's going on?